Hello, my name is Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a look at some of the more important, interesting or irritating things to have happened in the week's gaming news, except on those occasions where I like to tackle one big topic, like I'm going to do now with the recent kerfuffle over YouTube gaming personalities doing paid promotional videos. Those of you with half-decent memory spans might remember a little incident back in December of 2013 when Machinima were caught unscrupulously leveraging their network of YouTube channels to do the dark promotional bidding of Microsoft. For those of you whose long-term memories have been ravaged by booze and drugs, Microsoft and Machinima made a deal where Machinima partnered YouTube video creators would, in exchange for some extra cold hard cash, make special promotional videos for the Xbox One. One of the conditions of the deal was that participants could not reveal the promotion even existed, a condition violating Federal Trade Commission rules which require any online content that is sponsored in some way to disclose that fact. One Machinima partner realised the whole shebang was just a tad scummy and underhanded, and so leaked the entire contract online for the whole world to see. A bit like Julian Assange, only without the alleged sex offences. Microsoft and Machinima swiftly apologised, channels that took part in the promotion took a hit to their reputation, and questions were raised about the trustworthiness of YouTube gaming personalities. Questions that returned with a vengeance this week after the insanely popular YouTube gaming video cabal, the Yogscast, announced its Yogdiscovery initiative, a sort of temporary affiliate scheme in which indie developers can approach the Yogscast to request a video about their game, and in return the Yogscast receive a small fraction of the game's sales revenue for a brief period after the video goes live. According to this open letter posted to Reddit, Yogdiscovery is supposed to help offset the financial risk of playing games that aren't guaranteed video views on YouTube. Since the Yogscast rely on the advertising revenue from video views to pay their bills, each video they create has to justify the time and effort put into making it. For a Minecraft video, this is a no-brainer since every Yogscast Minecraft video is damn near guaranteed squillions of views. More obscure and interesting games, meanwhile, don't have that sort of pre-established audience, and thus aren't guaranteed as many views. So far so seemingly mercenary, but there are some caveats to the Yogdiscovery scheme, the most important of which is that they will only cover games they enjoy, on the basis that it's kinda hard to feign enthusiasm for something you don't. But then I once met a man who told me you can get used to anything when money's involved. He used to stick mice up his arse for 20 quid a time. Now I certainly do have some issues with Yogdiscovery, my biggest being that the first game to use it, Space Engineers, is a Steam Early Access title and thus technically not a finished game. Then there's the possibility indie developers will feel obligated to use the scheme if they want their game to reach the widest possible audience. Finally, Yogdiscovery has no accurate way of counting how many copies were sold as a result of the video, such as affiliate links or referral codes. Instead, the Yogscast get a flat percentage of all sales for a set time after the video's release, even if some of those sales weren't because of their video. That said, I generally don't have an issue with Yogscast doing paid promotional content, so long as they label it as such, because they're entertainers and not critics. I wouldn't watch a Yogscast video expecting incisive critical analysis, for the same reason I wouldn't go to the circus expecting a TED Talk. A fact seemingly lost on much of the traditional gaming press, who sees the opportunity to jump straight into the fray with their own tuppence worth on the subject. Beginning with this article on Gama Sutra, sensationally titled Pay for Play, the Ethics of Paying for YouTuber Coverage. The author, Mike Rose, questioned 141 gaming YouTubers with subscribers ranging from under 5,000 to over 1 million, then arranged their answers into these easily digestible little pie charts, which opened the floodgates for a slew of other articles with sensationalist headlines like "Numerous YouTube stars admit to being paid by publishers," "Some YouTubers think taking publisher money is okay," "Popular YouTubers admit to being paid by publishers to make positive gaming videos," "More than 25% of popular YouTubers admit to taking cash from publishers," and so on and so forth. Nearly all these spin-off articles just link back to the Gama Sutra one anyway, but it's the subtext of these headlines that really, to borrow an Americanism, really sticks in my craw. The idea being pushed here is that gaming YouTubers have somehow been caught out and exposed, doing something they shouldn't, and then made to confess, like repentant sinners, to a pure and wholesome gaming press. Indeed, how dare someone who makes a living belming into a camera climb so readily into bed with games publishers and developers? Why is PewDiePie not held to the same rigorous journalistic standards as we, the mainstream gaming press? All YouTube gaming content is the same and has finally been exposed for the nest of corruption it is. Thank God we pure noble games journalists are here to protect poor, naive viewers like you from being swindled by these video vipers. Except this subtext is coming from a gaming press whose own track record on such shenanigans has been just as shady if not worse. One example being the 2012 Games Media Awards, where a bunch of games journalists gleefully retweeted a promotional hashtag for the chance to win a free PS3. Oh, but there was nothing morally repugnant about that, no siree. That wasn't at all like YouTubers doing promotional content. It was really just like a lottery, only instead of paying a quid for a ticket you hoard out your Twitter account instead. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like there was nothing wrong with gaming news site Polygon accepting $750,000 from Microsoft to film a self-indulgent behind-the-scenes documentary about themselves. Or journalists getting all expenses paid trips to exclusive preview events. Or sites making deals to publish the exclusive first review of a AAA title, or hyping a game beyond all belief only to turn around months later and admit that maybe it was just a teeny bit shit after all. But I can't tar all of the gaming press with the same mucky brush, even though that's exactly what they're doing with their coverage of this whole YouTube thing. Nearly every article I've read either grossly oversimplifies, conveniently glosses over, or casually ignores the basic, simple, irrefutable fact that not all YouTube gaming content is exactly the same. But then why let something like facts or research get in the way of moral grandstanding, eh? YouTube gaming content can be classified along a broad spectrum, with critique, for want of a better term, at one end, and entertainment at the other. A gross oversimplification of my own, admittedly, yet still more nuanced than just drawing a big circle and writing YouTubers on it. In the critique end, you have the likes of Total Biscuit, Errant Signal, Extra Credits, and pretty much anyone who has some sort of critical analysis to offer, even if it's just some bloke drinking heavily while swearing into a webcam. Meanwhile, towards the entertainment side, there are your Yogscasts, PewDiePies, Tabasco Wattses and other assorted Let's Players, comedy clowns and montage compilers. Apologies if you already know all of this, by the way. This bit is mostly for the benefit of clueless games journalists. Near the middle is where things admittedly get a little blurry, with the likes of Angry Joe, who does critical reviews that also have amusing skits in them, as well as Matt Lees and Jim Sterling, who both use comedy to criticise the games industry. While many YouTubers do stay roughly within their comfort zone, they're not immutably fixed in place like dead rats nailed to a door. Since YouTube is such a dynamic and fluid medium, many YouTubers can and do drift between both ends of the spectrum, or even jump straight from one side to the other seemingly on a whim. Total Biscuit, for example, is best known for his critical first impression series WTF Is, which clearly tends towards the critique end of the spectrum.
This game is silly. Very silly.
Yet he also does videos where he pisses around in Terraria.
I'm not going to believe in your crazy space butterfly.
Provides commentary for esports events.
Marines and Marauders, I would expect early gaming against Zerg. That's pretty sensible strategy. Again, it's a good, solid all-rounder.
Plays Hearthstone for shits and giggles.
Well, I mean, they were at least entertaining games, right? Yes, I've had fun.
And other stuff that's clearly for pure entertainment value.
New to the Battlefield series, the ability to open doors for yourself. Next gen!
Whereas the bulk of the Yogscast's content, on the other hand, is pure buffoonery. They do sometimes drift a bit towards the critique side of the spectrum with things like developer interviews, but they are still primarily entertainers and not critics. So going to their channels for in-depth video game critique and analysis makes about as much sense as asking Kim Kardashian how to build a space rocket. And yet both Total Biscuit and the Yogscast have done promotional content in the form of cross-channel tournaments for Guns of Icarus and Chivalry. Neither side were reviewing the games, however, or telling the audience to buy them every 10 seconds. They were just playing them, albeit for money, which they disclosed. To summarise so far, if a video doesn't portray itself as critique, subtly or otherwise, then it's ridiculous to hold it to the same standards as one. When I go to the circus, I go for the clowns, and I don't base my purchasing decisions on whatever make and model of car they all climbed out of. Some argue that the simple fact of a prominent YouTube personality playing a game is a form of endorsement, guaranteed to sell squillions of copies to impressionable people. Again, I go to see the clowns, not the tent they're performing in. Besides, a popular YouTuber playing a game doesn't guarantee it commercial success. Otherwise, YouTube fodder like Walden and the Werewolf, played by PewDiePie in a video that amassed over 1.5 million views, would have had a fuck ton more than 6 people playing it on launch day. The ham-fisted, fake scared reactions of PewDiePie and another prominent YouTuber, Markiplier, were even featured in the trailer for the game. For all the good that did. So why all this fuss and oblique moral posturing from the gaming press over promotional videos? For some game journalists, simple jealousy would be part of it. For others, a basic inability to comprehend YouTube gaming's appeal as a dynamic, visual, personality-driven medium. I'd wager some even feel threatened by it, terrified that it will somehow render them irrelevant. To a certain extent, it already has. Why bother reading pages of text telling you how great or terrible a particular game is when you can see it in action for yourself, in a video review or let's play? Well, for the same reason you might also read the book that a movie you watched was based on, or read a newspaper as well as watching the news on TV, to complement another media form as part of a balanced media diet. Speaking of other media, in a way the traditional gaming press's reaction to YouTube gaming is rather ironic when you think about it. Whether it's scathing attacks, sneers of derision, nonchalant dismissals or plain dumbfounded confusion, it's really no different to how traditional media like television and movies have treated video games over the years. None of which is to say YouTube gaming content should somehow be given a free pass, far from it. More can and certainly should be done to disclose which videos are part of a paid promotion, and greater transparency all round is healthy for the medium. At the end of the day, like traditional games journalists, YouTube gaming personalities are ultimately accountable to us, the audience. And it's up to us to keep them honest. Finally, this doesn't only affect large YouTube channels. Smaller channels should also strive for transparency and honesty with their audiences, however tiny they may be. It's a good habit to get into and will stand you in good stead should you ever reach the big leagues. And don't think being small will let you slip under the radar. Your sins will find you out eventually, and then your fans will tear you apart like a pack of wild dogs. That's all for this special one-note edition of Pixel Burn. If you liked it, please do let me know, and let your friends, family and the Federal Trade Commission know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. If you didn't like it, however, then here's a Marxist interpretation of New Zealand's story. You can go now.